It's like the
Yeah, when you're
hottest.
working.
Yeah, we were already there and we were playing, we were having fun, and then like, well, they said that we could come over and play on the tennis. It's like, well, that's you guys are playing, and our balls are everywhere. We took the outside because we're like, we don't want to have interrupt.
I think we need to have.
I love either look faces if you would have applied for.
Well, I did. One of the guys who was there, there came over, said, "Don't leave, don't leave.
Yeah.
They shouldn't cut you off." Now it's like I had 3 people ask, or to have somebody join us.
I mean, since the day it opened, I've really not agreed with how it's.
Yeah, we gotta get that through. Now I've got.
Well, yeah, it was just weird. It was just, and I understood, if you're there and you want to use the report, stuff like that, if you have like a thing. I was like, did you guys register through the parks or, for this, They're like, oh no, have this stand thing from 5 to sunset, and then 9 to 11 in the morning. I was like,
Do
oh,
they pay
okay, we'll come when it's hot.
No, nobody pays, nobody's like charging, it's just that kind of a community and it works.
Oh, Michael.
But
Yeah, I was wondering if they.
It's becoming more and more popular, so
Right.
more and more requests, right? So I think it's time to
What's happening, Mr.
just
Mike?
look
Is
at
that
it
a
again.
future topic then?
All right, how you doing?
Could be, yeah.
Right.
Good,
You
it's,
want to be friendly and if
I know it's route to avoid the
we can't get in
construction
there,
except
then
everybody's
it's not
on.
friendly, yeah.
Might be a good winter
It's just who
topic.
we're talking about.
Mhm.
Who else talks about it?
Just like something we could discuss in the winter, so you could have like a new plan by the time it came around to play
What
pickleball
event are
again.
you talking about?
Just
Incident?
pickleball in general.
We're gonna have a
Isn't
future
he a big
topic.
pickleballer?
Yeah.
Yes, I am,
But he's that. good one.
but I don't hang out with some of the folks.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
Oh,
Where were you, Towner?
Yeah,
So
no,
there's the
no,
piece.
That's what I said, was a Towner. That's the first thing I said, Mike. Was a
Is Towner a problem?
Towner's more
Much
competitive.
bigger than Hillbrook.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, I'll learn more later, but, the 2 folks that do a lot of work to coordinate it would not tolerate anything.
All right,
negative.
Denise is ready whenever we are.
Yes, I was gonna say, I'll start it. I was just waiting until 4:35.
I'm gonna tell her.
And I mean it.
Okay, with that, I will start the September 9th Park Commission meeting for Meridian Township at 4:35.
You might have to repeat that, Mary.
Okay, you
So
can-
sorry.
No, it's-
Should I move over so it looks like a thing?
Thanks, Mark.
Do you want to switch Amanda? All those nameplates
She'll
are
be-
off.
Oh, I can be Amanda for a little bit.
Okay.
Amanda Reckowitz.
Well, no, you're Michael. He's Amanda.
Oh, I'm Michael. You're one.
Oh, I see, that's
But
right.
where's the thing?
Did she start, Courtney? or
She.
You're good. Wait until we get, okay. Thanks, Mark. Okay, so with that, we will open the meeting, September 9th meeting of the Meridian Township Park Commission at, I'm just gonna say 4:35. Thanks for everyone for being here. And if you could, silence your phones in advance. Somehow put on Do Not Disturb. Okay, roll call. Commissioner Stevens.
I'm here.
Commissioner McDonald.
Yes.
Commissioner Rambo. Here. Commissioner Amanda will be coming in, I believe. We haven't heard differently.
I haven't heard differently.
Okay. And we have here from staff Director Wazinski,
Here?
Hannah, and Katie Adams. Yeah, with that, do we have any public comment?
Not from our groupie?
Boy, we are just buzzing
Good.
along today. All right, so agenda number 4, presentation of our Parks and Recreation Land Management and Maintenance Plan with Katie Adams, Acting Superintendent.
Do I need a microphone? Should I, can you hear me? Should I move it?
Maybe just.
Point that one right toward you.
Does that help?
Yes.
Oh, there we go, okay.
There's 2 of them, one's ticks.
I know.
Awesome.
This one.
Well, thank you for inviting me today to talk a little bit about the maintenance and what goes on in the parks. Again, I'm Katie Adams. I'm the Parks and Land Preservation Superintendent for Meridian Township, and our department oversees the maintenance of not only the parks, but the land preserves and the bicycle pedestrian pathway system that runs through the township. As you are probably familiar, we have 30 parks now with 933 acres, 25 land preserves that total 968 acres, 20 miles of trails within the parks, and we are currently at 86.5 miles of pedestrian and bicycle pathway, which if you look up city center of Detroit, it's like driving to Detroit, and we maintain all of that. So we have a crew of 6 guys that are year-round that maintain everything that I just mentioned. In the summer, we're lucky enough to get 5 seasonal staff. This year, we only had 4, but we are budgeted for 5 if we're ever able to do that. It's super helpful in the summer. But I don't think that we ever have a slow season. So I compiled a list of all the things that our wonderful staff does. They're truly incredible with what they're able to do. For such a small staff and so much to maintain. Like, I'm just floored every day by how much they're able to do. So I'm just going to go through the gist of everything they do, and then I'm happy to answer any specific questions that anybody comes up with. But April through October, we're mowing 215 acres of that 934 that we own. A little bit of that includes some of the pathway at Davis Foster Preserve, so there's a little bit of mowing there because we have to keep those fire breaks clear. They maintain all the tree trimming in the parks and along those 86.5 miles of pathways. We have to keep 2 feet on each side of the pathway and 9 feet above clear for bicycles and walkers. Of course, they clean up down trees from storms or die off in the parks, preserves, and along the pathways. This next one was quite amazing to me when we started. I gathered a bunch of numbers for you because I think it's a little more impressive than just saying, yeah, we empty trash. They empty trash 7 days a week in the busy months at 27 locations, which is 58 trash cans, and 25 dog bag trash locations, which include an extra 36 cans. So, you know, we're pushing 100 different trash cans that we have to empty. It's not, in addition to mowing and doing all the other stuff on top of that, it's a lot of work. In the winter, of course, they plow and salt parking lots, sidewalks in the parks, and that we plow the 86.5 miles pathway. Collecting and disposing of residents' Christmas trees has been an ongoing thing for our department. We also help with the picking up and disposal of dead deer on the roads in the township, which averages about 135 deer a year for that part of it. We have 16 gardens in the parks that we mulch and weed. They maintain the athletic fields. Now, if you were to go to a park and just stand there and count the fields, you could look at, say, Hartrick, and you're like, all right, we have 2 baseball fields and a soccer field. Those soccer fields that we have in our park, so we technically have 26 designated fields between the schools and the parks that we maintain, but those turn into 29 football and soccer fields in the fall, 22 soccer fields in the spring, along with 10 baseball fields. So it's a lot of field maintenance. And of course, in the off season, we do a lot of preventative maintenance, which includes the restoration. So seed, straw, repair, any divots and those kinds of things, and where the soccer nets are wearing out where the goals were, and we try to rotate fields just to avoid that. So we get a lot of use on our fields, which is amazing. I mentioned we have 20 miles of trails within the park system, so we do a lot of trail repairs, trimming, mowing. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of that on the land preserves too, especially in like Sylvan Glen Preserve, because it's connected directly to our trails. But most of the other sort of non-designated trails in the land preserves, Emma's crew and volunteers take care of all that. We have 14, soon to be 16 playgrounds. That's, you know, for the majority of those, we put new safety surface down every spring if we can get to it. Otherwise, it ends up being in the summer, but we try to get it all done in the spring. But we are also the ones that repair and replace any sort of broken pieces or just things that need to be upgraded. Just this week, we put a brand new slide over at Launch Park. So that's always exciting because that's an older structure, so new equipment there. We have the dog parks, right? So we're filling holes that the dogs are digging. We're eradicating bees and poison ivy when we can. Repairing fence lines. We had the large dog park got hit pretty hard with a storm this year, so that took up, some unplanned time of repairs. We roll them out every spring. We put seed down when we're able to rest them. The large dog park is set up so that we can divide that in half so that we can rest half when it's necessary and switch people over. And then, of course, we have a lot of general park cleanup, so fall leaves, sticks, and debris in the spring when we're prepping for mowing, graffiti, vandalism. Unfortunately, those things take up time too. Cleaning off the canoe launch in Ferguson Park when it floods. And just cleanup and from the floods in general in our low-lying parks, which everybody knows is an annual and sometimes 2 or 3 times a year project, depending on what the rain does. We have 10 pavilions that we clean and maintain. We have 10 locations, but 23 restrooms within the parks that our guys are in charge of from May until October, cleaning 7 days a week sometimes. Cleaning, maintaining, winterizing, repairing, and installing drinking fountains. We now have 11 drinking fountains in the parks that we maintain. We also water and provide mulch for the Hazlet Beautification Association, Downtown Development Authority, and the Meridian Garden Club flower beds, May through September, and that's 12 different locations for that. We have special events set up, which we're all very familiar with all those. Celebrate Meridian, Chinese New Year, Nature Center events, dog park events, the pavilion rental setups when people need tables moved, the Meridian Garden Club plant sale, the library's used book sale, Pride, Juneteenth, Halloween events, and on and on. For the pathways, we also have to do repairing and cold patching when the concrete is sinking or we have holes, because sometimes having the engineering department works with contractors to do permanent repairs, but our job is to do temporary repairs to get that going. We have 5 locations with irrigation that we maintain. We have 2 locations, the Pink Garden at the Historical Village and the Harris Nature Center patio that has engraved bricks. So when people purchase those bricks for either location, our guys are in charge of putting those in. Raising and lowering flags in the parks as well when that is ordered. Also the installation, maintenance, tear down, and storage of the artificial ice rink, which is a couple-day projects putting it in and then maintaining it all winter, and then a couple days putting it away. Fences, there's a lot of fences. There's a lot of split rail fences and other types of fences along the pathway system, as well as along the trails in the parks and the preserves that our guys are responsible for. Currently working on installing a split rail fence in the overflow parking lot at Hartrick Park. So you'll see that today or tomorrow if it's not already done. Trying to control the just the flow there. A lot of people cutting through it, possibly whipping donuts, making a little bit of mess. So we're going to put up a short little fence to hopefully stop some of that. Our guys plant trees. When people donate a memorial tree, our guys are in charge of all that. Installing memorial benches or benches that we have ordered. They do all of that. Signs that are put up along the pathways and in the parks and in the preserves, our guys do all that installation. So all the new land pres signs that Emma's been working on the last couple of years, our guys have put all of those in when you see those in the land preserves. They also do things like hanging Christmas lights at the Historical Village and the Service Center. They now maintain all the buildings at the Historical Village, which includes a lot of exterior work, some interior, and we are now overseeing the HVAC systems there, so we've picked up a lot of work there. They maintain the inside and outside of the Harris Nature Center, including the grounds. And on top of all that, and I've probably missed a million things, they assist the water department, the sewer department, and the buildings and grounds department when they're needed. So it's super impressive. We get work orders from Public Works and Engineering, Land Preserves, Parks, Historical Village, Farmers Market, HBA, DDA, Meridian Garden Club, Nokomis Learning Center, and the Harris Nature Center. So that's who we are working for. And it's a lot of work, and they are so impressive. So anytime you're out in the parks, preserves, or along the pathways, just know they are working as hard as they can with the time they are allowed. And they're amazing, they're truly amazing, so, yeah, it's incredible. I feel like I left off 1,000 things, but that's the gist of what they do.
Well, that list is incredible.
It's incredible, yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, yep.
Kind of makes you dizzy. That's why we really appreciate you being here, because I think for most people, if not all people in the township, they would never dream that that's done by such a small crew and everything that they do. Because I think for most of us, we see what we're paying attention to or wherever we're at, not having any idea of what they do. It is remarkable.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody have any questions? I miss anything?
Rainbow, do you have any questions?
Not necessarily. I can see why 5 extra staff are helpful in the summer. That's incredibly impressive and so much work for 6 people.
Yeah, yeah. And they do it with a smile. They take a lot of pride
Yes,
in
they
what
do.
they do. And so they do really give it their all, and they don't, they don't skimp anywhere. They want to do more if they could, but, time.
And they do,
figure that out.
that's just the regular list. That's not the things that come in, one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of random emergency things or things that people just need help with, and we do that, so, yeah.
Commissioner McDonald?
No, I think they do a great job. I see them in action mostly around pickleball courts, and I think they have a very good, cheerful attitude and great ethic. Maybe they don't like to play pickleball, maybe they aren't fans of soccer, et cetera, but they sure work their butts off to make it just as good as they can.
Yeah.
Commissioner Stevens?
Just very highly commendable, and, I appreciate all of their work. And the people appreciate their work too, you know. You don't ever go somewhere where you see that, trash cans are overflowing or, it's very impressive. So,
Yeah.
thank them for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Commissioner York?
Hi, sorry, Katie, for being late.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry, I drove back from a work conference in Traverse City, so I apologize.
Short drive.
Yeah, I know, I had to be here. So you may have covered this, so I apologize, but I was just curious, like you said, you had the list that you're sharing, that the 6 people do, and then there's probably so many other things that they do. So how do we prioritize all of that with such a small team? Like, I was just curious if you could talk to us a little bit about
Yeah,
that too.
so Larry Bob is our lead worker and has been for quite some time. That's going to be a pretty huge void to fill when he retires in the next year or 2. But his organizational skills are incredible, and sometimes what we'll do together is if a last minute work order comes up and he'll have already had his plan for the day, we sit down together and we're like, okay, well, what can wait? There's a lot of scheduled things, which we all know how schedules work, right? We can almost never stick to them, but like mowing, for example, right? Certain places are weekly, some places are every other week. We do trails once a month unless there's a storm. So there's things that we organize that way so that we allow time for other things. So a lot of organization into it. If you ever get the chance to visit the maintenance department and you go into his office, the board that he's created is probably what keeps everything so organized. All the parks are listed by zones within the township, right? So north route, south route, west, east, central route, whatever they are. And then the parks are listed within there. And, what weeks are we doing the mowing? What weeks are we doing the trimming? And then, sometimes we can get ahead that way because it's very well laid out and organized. And then, of course, like pavilions and trash and all that stuff all depends on the use and the time of year and who's renting and how many rentals do we have, and some of this work has to get done on Saturdays and Sundays too. So in the spring and summer, they do work a lot of weekends to make sure the trash is done and the parks are clean and the pavilions are ready for its renters too, so.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
One other question I have is, so if the community notices something that needs to be fixed, like you mentioned work order earlier, how do they tell you, or how do they tell Larry Bob and his team about that?
Yeah, so all the work orders eventually go through me, and then I'll communicate it with our team. Because sometimes people will call in work orders that might actually fall under East Lansing or Ingham County or MDOT. So it's better that everything comes to me. A lot of people will call Hannah or Denise upstairs with Public Works. And then they'll get those work orders to me, and sometimes they reach out directly to Courtney. So eventually it all comes back to me, but no matter which way, I mean, they can always just call the Parks office and it'll make its way, or email parks@meridian.mi.us.
I was just gonna ask if there was like
Yeah.
a email or like a form on the website where they
Yeah,
can just.
it'd
put
be
the-
email and phone calls best. So
Okay.
just calling the parks directly, we'll get that information to me, or the parks email, which is just parks@meridian.mi.us.
Okay.
And it'll find its way.
Thank you so much for all that you
just
do
have one
and for
thing, but-
everything that
No,
they
go
do.
ahead.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Go ahead, Mike.
So Katie, you may well have spoken without notes because you're an excellent speaker. But is it possible, like before our next meeting, that you could maybe 10 bullets of the highlights of things that you went over, like acres mowed and that kind
Sure.
of thing? Because I'm sure I have
I'll
some
also leave you
friends.
with this.
And all of our attention spans are shrinking.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no,
I'm sure I have
definitely.
some friends and some groups I'm in, not Hillbrook, but church and et cetera, that I'd enjoy seeing, having something like that, and I
Sure.
would keep it.
Yeah, numbers are very impressive, which is why I wanted to pull them for tonight, because it's easy for us to say, oh, we clean the pavilions, we empty the trash, we plow, we mow. But the general public, I don't think, really knows how much of that, we do. Because, I mean, emptying a trash can takes, just a couple minutes, right? But when you have 80 of them to do, it's a little more impressive. And they're not all in one location, yeah.
I think especially, and it's sort of a not point, but they also always stay very comfortably in their role. And the county at Lake Lansing South at one time had someone under Pat Whitty who thought he was also a park ranger and a law enforcement person. And that just takes away from what your role is.
Right,
And
yeah.
along with just being a pain, he wasn't qualified, he wasn't correct and accurate. And again, it's a praise that the crew never says, as far as I know, they never say anything about things other than the roles
Yeah.
they're in.
Yeah, they're very good at recognizing when maybe if they run into somebody and it might escalate or something, they all have a stack of my business cards in their truck.
Oh,
So they know to be like,
ready for that.
here you go.
But that often diffuses things anyway.
Yeah, yep, yeah. No, they're great with the public. It's fun to watch them interact. They've done, Love a Park Day stuff. They've worked with volunteer groups too, which I think
Right.
is great. A lot of maintenance crews don't get to do that kind of stuff, so it's pretty awesome, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, so I find these facts really interesting about, acres mowed, trash taken out, that kind of a thing. Have you ever sent these little facts to like communications to share with the public on like social media?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that mowed acres and the number of acres that we own and stuff is out there, but probably not. I don't.
I honestly think they'd be
Yeah.
fun little posts
Oh, yeah,
for
it'd be
social
great.
media.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's what I was gonna ask too, if it's on that form that you have there that you
Yeah.
read off of, is that on the website as a PDF or something like that people
No,
can
I
click on
just
to be
created
impressed?
it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it's good information, I think. And I think when people understand all that's entailed, then they're not as upset when we don't get a request done immediately.
Yeah.
They understand more that, hey, well, we have more than just Central Park to mow.
Well, that's where it's helpful, that's where it's really helpful.
Yeah.
And I think people are very understanding, especially if they knew the amount of things that had to happen and,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, so.
Yeah, for sure.
I did have one question about the mowers.
Yeah.
And it might be something that we, as a commission, could help. Have the automatic mowers helped Has that reduced the time needed to mow for some of the guys,
So what it has done for us is, we've had a crew of 6 for many, many years, and we've continued to develop and add and develop and add without adding staff. So it's allowed us to breathe a little bit, by knocking down the amount of mowing we have to do on the central route. So it has definitely helped us. I know a lot of people saw the mowers and thought, oh, taking jobs away, but really what it was doing was, without the addition of staff, it was just helping us. It was kind of like our little robot staff that was helping us keep up, as opposed to having to skip locations. And they've gotten pretty efficient, and the mowing that they do when they stay on task, because they are like little toddlers sometimes. But it looks really nice, and they work in a way that they don't mow, they keep it at a certain height all the time. So there's never a need to come in and mow, pretty hard. But the hardest part, I think, with them has been the setup each, from one year to the next, because you got to store them and then you got to bring them back out and remind their brains what they're supposed to be doing. So for the month of April and May, we still mowed all of that, but it helps. It gives us more time to get to other jobs that have been on the list for, some things have been on the list for 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
So is there something that the commission can do to procure more of those or something? Or is that something we can help with?
I appreciate it, but right now we are not interested in any more robots. I think what might be in the upcoming budget years is going to be some zero-turn mowers, which I think is going to be a little more efficient than the batwings that we've been mowing with. And so I think we're going to gain some efficiency there.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you. We will definitely keep you posted.
Yeah, if there's anything that we can help out with, let us know.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yes, I was just going to build off of Commissioner Rambo for a second and say that it'd be really fun for a social media post to maybe even like follow Larry Bob in this next year or 2 before he retires, to like do like a sped up video of like his day or like each team member's day or something like that, to just see, doing all that mowing, all the garbage kit, like all of that, the work orders and stuff in one day or 1 week, like how, much that is.
Yeah.
I think to see it in like a sped up video would be really interesting and fun way to like showcase all that they do. So just an idea.
Yeah, no, that would be a lot of fun.
They can be a little goofy and fun too.
Yeah, exactly.
Director Kaczynski, I wanted to confirm that the funding for all of that work is through our Parks Millage? Is that correct?
It is, it's split a little bit, yep. So probably close to half and half, would you guess?
For the parks, and then the land preserves has a separate millage, so the work that we do in the land preserves comes out of preserve millage. Park stuff is, we roughly have about 50% of our parks is general fund parks, and then 50% of the parks came post millage, so the millage helped us acquire the other 50%, so that is,
I think from a resident standpoint, that's helpful for people to know too, because I think sometimes there's a tendency for people to think that those millages are just for buying new acquisitions, for
right.
example.
Oh, yeah.
Not recognizing that this volume of work you just outlined is also covered by those millages, which will be coming up in the next couple
And
of
3
years.
of the 6 guys is funded through the park millage, so,
Well, you're paying for your gardener to come into your community, right? So, that's basically it, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
like-
think it's
pathway
hard for
millage,
people
too.
to really understand the full complexity. And just, in addition, this is just part of your job.
correct. Yeah.
So, did you want to just outline quickly, not necessarily?
Sure, yeah.
Your other roles,
Yeah.
your other hat?
So as the superintendent, I do oversee the maintenance, and then I handle all the contracts for any contractual work that we have to do. Like the mowing of the pathways themselves is done with a contractor, and so I oversee that, or any kind of big projects like the I'm drawing a blank on a word. Renovation of the Central Park Pavilion last year, I oversaw that project as well. All the work that's been done in the village with whether we paint or new roofs. So I oversee any of those contracts that we can't handle internally. And then I oversee the operations of the Harris Nature Center. which is a big job in and of itself.
Wonderful. but a big-
Permits and summer camp and school groups and, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think I have the greatest job in the township.
It shows. Well, the preventive maintenance and maintenance and repair, particularly of historic buildings, is really, it can be difficult and
Yeah.
time-consuming and even costly. So,
Yeah.
again, I know we have agreed to help out more there, but I also recognize with everything else you guys have going, that that's not going to be all that easy to do.
Yeah, I got a couple, thanks, Mark.
Do you have anything else you wanted to?
I think I'm good. I appreciate all of you having me here to talk about this. I think it's a lot of fun for me to see these numbers too. And it's just, I mean, I recognize that they do a lot of work, but until I was in this position in 2019, I didn't have a real concept of how much work they really do. It's a lot. And a lot more is expected of them. So, yeah.
I think that's indicative though of groups or teams that work hard and are very efficient and, you know, they have good teamwork because you don't think about what you're doing every day. And I'm sure they don't, it probably boggles them. They may not know all these facts either.
Right.
But, and maybe it would exhaust them to hear it. But I think that is indicative of a team that just works well together. And thank
Yeah,
you.
they're incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, continue to support them.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
anything
I
else?
guess one last thing, when East Lansing, when I was a desk clerk there at the rec center, took away the park maintenance from parks and gave it to a contractor, who I was impressed with, meeting the staff of 40 Acre Woods, but did East Lansing do any kind of analysis of what's the pros and cons of not having our staff do this anymore? And the kinds of things our crew has done, and you're saying today, and Lou said for years, I would not want to even see it be like discussed at a township board level. And it's never been rumored to be on anyone's agenda either.
That's a fair point, though. I know I happen to be involved, it's called commercial activities, in the studies at a federal installations with the state of Michigan for Department of Natural Resources, and almost to a study, it comes out that it's so much more expensive. But that's often something, even our church will go through that, well, we can just contract it out, not recognizing the value and the value in dollars of what in-house staff provides. So
Well-
I think that's a fair point, Mike.
And one case in point is Dearborn Heights' ice arena, which was assisted a long time ago by DNR. The city government of Dearborn Heights thought it was a good idea to lease the ice arena to Mark Stevens Incorporated. And after two or three or less years, it became apparent that Mark Stevens Incorporated wasn't doing any maintenance. So after 5 or 6 years, the city had to take the ice arena back with all sorts of maintenance problems.
Yeah, the investment in the buy-in isn't there typically. I'm not saying there aren't contractors that do a great job.
Yeah.
But, it's good to discern where that works best and where it doesn't work as well. So,
Right, I think our staff definitely feels a lot of ownership because they're in it every day and have been for years. Larry's been here 20-plus years and, or gonna be, I've lost count of his years, but long time. So you're really, invested in it and take ownership, and I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah, well, thank you and your crew for everything you do. Director Wazinski, did you have anything final to offer?
I'll just say, like Katie, I see the daily logs of what's supposed to be done every single morning, 7:30. And it's incredible. I mean, it's an entire 8x10 piece of paper with just lists of stuff. But then to quantify it like she did here, it is really impressive. And to your point about contracting and them taking pride, it's a family, like, because we're all enduring together. So even though I don't get to get out back with the staff out there as much, they come up and we have candy and, it's just really, you can't do that as well with a contractor as you can with your own staff, because it is like a family. And I
nor
think that
should
helps.
you.
Nor should you. Nor should you. So yes, I'm thoroughly impressed with the amount of work they do. And again, not just the amount, how well they do it, and not just all that, like they're carpenters and mechanics. Like, it's crazy what the staff knows and what they can do. So
I'm glad your
thank you very
staffs
much.
are housed together for a lot of those reasons. I
Yeah.
think that works out really well.
And Katie is a fantastic leader, and when it speak to prioritization, she's very good at that and makes it happen, so we're lucky to have her.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you again. Okay, agenda item number 5. Are there any corrections or additions to the agenda? No. So we have a motion to approve the agenda as it's listed.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second? Second. Okay, all those in favor say yay.
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 Opposed, nay. With that, it passes unanimously. So moving on to agenda item number 6, approval of the minutes. From our last meeting, again, are there any corrections to be made to those minutes?
I did not have that.
No.
I didn't see anything.
And thank you, Hannah, for all your work on those. Those are not easy.
Yeah, they're great.
Many meetings. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Support.
Okay, with that, all those in favor say yay.
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 And opposed, nay. Okay, with that, that passes unanimously. All right, Director Wazinski, Communications?
Sure, I was gonna pull up the agenda on the screen if that's okay, real quick. Might take a minute, Hannah, you wanna take over? All right, communications. As you will see, our stewardship calendar is still full. Fall is a busy season, lots of things happening. But one of the big things I learned this week is seed collection is starting, and this is when it's really important to be out there and collecting the seeds. And just a reminder to the public and maybe our commissioners that we, in our parks and preserves, really worked, in our preserves specifically, but in our parks as well, to plant only native plants. And our stewardship team does seed collection because when we say native plants, that's native to Meridian in most cases. So not just Michigan, of course, it's always Michigan, but native to Meridian, which is, really great in a lot of ways, but mostly it's relatively easy to get them to propagate, to get them to grow, right? Because they're ready and willing because they just collect them. So that's coming up soon. And then just working before the winter to get, the stewardship done on a lot of different parks. Let's see, we had Red Cedar Glen and David Foster for our stewardship Saturdays. Emma Campbell, our stewardship coordinator, had been out on medical leave for 3 to 4 weeks. And she has now 2 part-time staff, and Rachel and Lucy took over and just made sure everything stayed going status quo. And it was really exceptional, and that shows good leadership too, that Emma's got a staff that is proficient and that she can trust and is still doing all this amazing work for Meridian while Emma was gone. And Emma could be gone and not have to worry, so.
Yeah.
It was pretty seamless, and I know
I
behind
think
the
so.
scenes they had to be really scurrying, but from, a layperson's standpoint for us, it was pretty seamless.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job, and still are. But they took over the stewardship Saturdays and the weekday warriors. And they're relatively new graduates from MSU, but just to watch how they're very excited about the work they do and how passionate they are gets other people excited about doing more, right? So it was really fun to watch them, really. They had to have autonomy. It's like sink or swim, kiddos, and they did. They swam the race for sure. The other thing that's coming up this month, which is really important, is the volunteer thanquet. So that's on the 26th, Friday the 26th. And what Emma and her team for MCC have been doing this for quite a while, but in working with Mary and Katie, we have our MCC volunteers, which is significant, but there's so many other volunteers that contribute to our department that we couldn't get everything we do done without them. And just the commitment, for example, I managed, we'll call it managing the market, in Tom Carey's absence. And just the volunteers they're there every single Saturday. They come in and they make sure that that market is running, smooth and there for questions and helpful, and they do it with a smile. And then we have our gleaners that are volunteers. It's just a lot of work that goes on in this township, specifically through our department, is through volunteerism. So we wanted to reach out to everybody, and we tried last year, and I think we got most people, but starting to make a list. But even our coaches, all of our coaches are volunteers. We have over 80 coaches a year. So those are all volunteers. We pay some of our referees, but some of them are volunteers. And just to think about all the garden clubs and cattle, and there's just so many people that give back. The Rotary, Kiwanis, our scouts, that's very consistent. That's almost all the time. Like, they're constantly giving back to the community, and they work good through our department because we do kind of have hands out everywhere. So I really want to, all of our volunteers, welcome to come to our volunteer banquet on the 26th, including our commissioners.
So I am upstate that day, unfortunately won't make it, but I would love it if some commissioners would be able to show up for that.
Have you found someone to do the cooking, since it's often been Katie's husband? Or Mark Stevens?
I did not know that. Last year, it was Emma put together more of an appetizer tray
Right,
food
yeah.
stuff. So I think we're going to go sandwiches, but Jersey Giants has been very good to us. It makes it
We want to
relatively easy.
overwork Mark.
Unless Mark would like to cook, but
It is.
like I just said, we opened it up, so there's quite a few more people. So yes, just very excited about that, and very excited to, and there'll be prizes, and Emma makes it fun, so that is our stewardship. Any questions?
I just make a comment. Just want to say, Director Courtney, it's fascinating to me how many volunteers we have. And I think that goes to show the culture that's built in the work that your team does, because, and Emma, people feel so prideful, and it truly takes, people say it all the time, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to raise a community too, because, it does. It's just, if we didn't some of us, do our little part, these things wouldn't happen. So it's just really commendable, because people feel like they want to be a part of something. And that's because of the programs and the things that your team has put out. So I just want to say, it's really great work.
Yeah, thank you. They're a lot of fun too. They have fun doing it. When you're excited, it gets other people excited. So.
Right.
Okay.
Do I have a set the end of communications, or did you have?
That is end of communications, but I'll probably place two more things after my director's report into communications.
Okay, do you want them to
wanna do
put
it?
on file?
Yeah.
Can you do it now?
Yeah,
That would
I
work
s- I
best,
certainly
think.
can.
Thank you.
So this, so again, sorry, Emma's been out. So she put these together for me today, but this is just notification of our Meridian Township Deer Management Program 2025. So this is standard. You can read through all of the specifics, but the one thing to note this year, and I think we mentioned at our last Park Commission meeting, is we increased the number of deer from 300 to 350 this year. And we did have further conversations on that, and all involved were comfortable with that, both for budget, both for harvesting, safety, things like that. So the other one here, and for Commissioner Rambo, this might be new to you, Michigan State University Deer Targeted Anti-Tick Project Collaboration. This has been going, they've been doing this.
About 3
Mark,
years,
you
probably.
would know, yeah. About 3 years, but it's a research that the university does to determine what the tick population is. And it's kind of cool how they do it, but they consume something that has like a dye in it. So if you see like some deer maybe pink, it's not harmful. It's just it's a secondary reaction to this particular study. But they look for we'll just go through these because I'm not as familiar with this, but they quantified questing tick abundance and parasitism of deer. They quantified deer and non-target wildlife species, the use of field sites for potential deployment of oral medication delivery units. That's what I was talking about, the pink. Quantify consumption rates of a food product designed to deliver medications to white-tailed deer at different times of the year. And then they quantify a placebo biomarker as well. Communicate the project goals and results to the township and officials. They study fawn mortality rates in the township, and they quantify sex ratio and age distribution of the deer population. So not only are they doing that ticks, but they're collecting all this other really important quantifiable information to be able to put back into programs like this that are, some are relatively new. I think ours is one of the most established. And Emma gets, we just had another call, but she probably has 2 to 3 calls a year and more during the season from other communities looking to see how her program works, how this program works, and why is it so effective, and is it effective? And then nationally, she's known too. So she's been asked to speak at different conferences and or presentations nationally as well. So there's a lot of science that goes into this program, and I just want to say that because it from looking on the outside, it might not seem like that, but there's a lot of science, a lot of planning, and a lot of expertise that go into this program. So please feel confident that our program is well run. So just want to place these on file, and then we'll also put them on the township board agenda as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
questions?
Oh, I was gonna move to place them on file.
Oh,
but that's
I'm
all
so
right.
sorry. Just one quick question, Director Lizinski. It says quantify, and you may not be able to answer this tonight, which is totally fine. I just want to, quantify consumption rates of food product designed to deliver medications. Is this medications to the deer that would help drive down the tick population, do you know? Like, is that
That's the research study that they're
Okay,
doing, is that,
okay.
yeah, to see if that's something that's even feasible
Okay.
to give deer like you do with your dog or
Yeah,
something like that. You know,
right.
just keep the ticks off of the deer and then reduce that population because they can't find food sources, something like that.
Right, okay, because I
And then to
just,
see if any other animals are impacted by that as well. So that's why they're testing the stuff that they eat are like little biscuits that are made, and it gives off like a little pink and purple. So just so that you can see what deer has it and which one doesn't, and stuff
Okay.
like that, and other animals that may eat it as well. So
because I was just reading today about the increase of Lyme disease in the state, and so I was curious if, like, this would impact that too.
That's the goal of this research.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's
the
100%
person doing
goal
the
of the
study
research
is
the
Jean
Lyme.
Sale, and she's in our department, Fisheries and Wildlife Department, and she's the tick specialist at MSU, and so she's hoping that this will give them a lot of information to go forward, maybe reduce it all over. There's a new tick that was just found too down in southwest Michigan too. It's not a really good thing to know.
Yeah.
I guess it's good to know that it's there, but so you do something about it. But-
Right.
May I ask just quick, with the climate changing, is that something we can anticipate more variations of
Well,
ticks? I mean,
That's a possibility, because as the weather warms up,
And-
things can
And one,
move up from the
that's
south.
what I was wondering, so
one
it's good timing. for
anecdotal,
the-
is how I describe it, belief, is that every year, especially the further north you go, when we get a hard frost, whatever, 25, 22 degrees, that's it. And last year, folks I casually know, grouse hunters, posted that their dogs were coming back loaded with ticks on December 28th in Bexar County.
Better north,
Yeah.
wow.
Hey, they didn't have a hard frost
No
before
frost,
then.
Yeah, cold weather it's an issue.
Now, I have no clue whether then the next year there's even more ticks. It's hard to imagine, as someone with a dog that gets out, it's hard to imagine there could be any more ticks. But people continually say this year's worse than last year, and last year was worse than the year before. And those are what would I say? They're not non-Lyme disease ticks, because 99+% of them don't carry it.
Yeah.
But they're darn unhealthy, and they're really darn annoying,
Yeah, they're annoying.
because I can't take anti-tick medicine like I can give my dog. Heart Guard or Next Guard or
Next guard, or both.
Yeah, don't try.
Don't eat the pink biscuits.
Commissioner Rambo?
Don't eat the biscuits. that you find them.
I'm just really glad that we're partnering with MSU on this. I think, I know ticks are a problem. I'm a pet owner. You go to the vet, they talk to you about it in the spring. And I think to be pioneers in this kind of research is something really great for our township.
Yeah, we're lucky to have Michigan State.
We are very lucky.
And the DNR right here.
Right here.
People in our community that do this stuff for a living, so
Yeah.
it's great.
Very fortunate.
And the more visibility it gets, there's, on Michigan Public Radio, they had a series a year or so ago about 3 or 4 folks, one who was in Linlow County, was continuously misdiagnosed and had Lyme disease and was misdiagnosed, and pretty much their life was ruined. And I've got to think, I don't have any doctors in the, well, I have one in a close circle, but I think the more visibility, the more doctors, especially GPs, would think, wow, this patient has these symptoms, maybe they should
awareness.
have a Lyme disease test, because it's not a, how would you describe it? It's not something that is unique and you go,
Yeah,
oh,
it's just
God,
aches and pains and
Mark's-
headaches and
Mark's
maybe a
this
fever
way, he
one
must
day
have
or
Lyme
whatever.
disease.
Yeah.
It's actually the opposite.
Interesting.
Joint pains and stuff like that. So hopefully the doctors won't figure that out and then tell you not to go outside. It's not what we want.
I can't remember the last time the researcher came in and talked with us about this, but since it's been going on for 3 years, like, is that something, given the increase in tick population, it might be really good for the residents of the township to hear a presentation?
Like an update.
Yeah, an update and kind of what they're seeing, if that's
Yeah.
an
I'm
opportunity.
sure they're willing. I can ask them, see them in all tomorrow.
Okay.
It'd be nice if we could televise it, so when we set
Right,
up our
so our
meetings,
next
schedule for
televised
televised
meeting.
meetings, that might be a
Or
good
something
one to
like that, yeah.
focus
Love it.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that, do we have a motion to approve and place on file the communications?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say yay.
Yep.
Yay. All those opposed say nay. With that, that passes unanimously. Okay, and I believe we do not have any discussion items because we moved those to communications. So no action items. We didn't change our agenda. So Director Wazinski, it's director's report time.
Director's report. Okay, we'll start with budget, which is kind of boring. There hasn't been much movement since our last meeting. But for good reason. One, the Natural Resource Trust Fund grant, we received our preliminary scores. So, again, this was my first time on this side of a state grant. But I will say that I'm going to give the state of Michigan credit because I know how far they've come. But the My Grant system was really, really easy to use. So,
I heard that before.
no, and
And it was easy to use.
it was easy to use on a user side. So it was, I thought it was pretty easy to use. But anyways, I've preliminarily looked at the score. I don't want to misspeak, but I want to say it was 340 out of 500 points. But know that some of those points we will never get. For example, we don't live in a metropolis. We're not the city of Detroit. We don't live next to River Rouge or some of these places that are really unique to Michigan that are really important to the DNR to make sure it has funding. So there's some of those points we won't get, but I still feel in my math, there's probably 5 to 10 more points that I think providing supplemental information. So I think we're in good standing. The new scoring system for the need, the area median income, Alice, from looking at previous grant applications to this one, it looks like we fell about the same, so within the ranking. So our grant coordinator thought maybe that Alice would change Meridian's kind of a scoring with that, given that we are much higher income than many communities, but it kind of kept us right about the same, so fair is fair. So that's good. Our team will update and submit additional information that's requested, plus some other things, questions that I might have by October 1. So we should know by the end of the year whether or not we will use this $150,000 as our match funds for that grant.
Nice.
And just a reminder for the public, that grant was submitted for the trailhead property located on Okemos Road and Gaylor Seed Smith Parkway, so right by the Service Center office, right on the corner there, right near the new crossing for Phase 2 pathway, Phase 2 MSU to Lake Lansing pathway. So, and it's about 1 mile from the next hub, which would be Marketplace, and about 1 mile from a 2B hub in the American House in Hazlet. So it's a really good, like, right in the middle of those two hubs. And hits the interurban, and you can go all 85 miles. So it'll be really exciting.
Can you add that to future, just to have a note there with the
yeah.
trust fund, just that it's for the Okemos Road Trail?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yep, yep.
But we can keep that.
You might, how often, if at all, do you see Marcus Washington and Brett Kaczynski? Because you got a couple three still, even though Jenksy left Holt. You got a couple three veteran folks, and I know Brett takes a lot of interest in Lansing's requests. He doesn't have a planner anymore, hasn't had one for years. And you check with him, but I know when I've talked to him about the scoring system in the past, he doesn't feel it's really fair to the city of Lansing either. But I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah.
He's a very, as much as you can imagine, he's very accessible, but very busy too. But I know he'd share thoughts with
Brett
you,
and I
not
talk
about
quite
our
often.
project per se,
Yeah.
but about how he feels communities like maybe they don't have a request in, and maybe they have 5, but I think in this area, professional folks in the Parks and Rec area would not feel like they're competing with you, like we get it and then they won't, and that would be a bummer. That's just not how Parks and Rec folks operate.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I do, Director Kaczynski and I talk more often than
Great.
Marcus and I, but it's just because we don't cross paths as much. But
Well,
yeah, no, that's a very good point.
they're the biggest system in this area.
Sure, yeah. When I drive through Lansing, I think, wow, it's a lot of work as a park director. You didn't realize how much. It's a lot of work, but.
I've been to Kriegel Park twice this year, and I was sort of involved in its funding by not funding it, because it used to have barrels there.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have been to Kriegel Park. It's surprisingly what would you say, up north feeling, even if you kind of know the history of it being a toxic site. And it's not very heavily used the couple times I've gone. You probably have been there. What's your thoughts?
Oh, yeah,
on
that's my
Kriegel?
dock design that's there, with the cribs underneath the dock. That's the first one that we did in this area, yeah. And worked really heavily with the folks that designed that park and those bump downs for fishing. And we put 40 fish structures out there at one time, and it's
And
pretty well done. But it was toxic for a while. There were barrels, but they've done research and there's not.
And a woman who was there at the same time I was there the second time asked me some interesting questions, and one of them was, are you allowed to keep fish caught in Kriegel Park? Is it catch
Yeah,
and
not the
release?
bass. You're not allowed to keep the bass, but you're allowed to keep anything else.
Because some people like to fish and take the fish home for dinner.
Yeah.
But
I've been
she
working with
also-
Brett Kaczynski to actually stock that a
Yeah,
little bit more.
she also added, she said, I've lived here 50 years and I didn't even know this place was here. So that's kind of cool.
You hear that a little bit, and then you also hear, when I was young, we used to come here and party. You know? It's like you hear the opposite of that.
Well,
I was here all the time when I was a teenager. It was
Yeah,
great.
and I did do Hawk Island, but that was its reputation too. Those gravel pits were the place to go for naked swimming.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot better now, but it's a park.
Yeah, Or not.
Oh, okay. Towner Road and Ottawa Hills Inclusive Playground. So again, those have been purchased. We're waiting for timing with our sports to have those installed. They have been delivered and we're planned for fall installation. We came in a little under budget there, but it's not over. So Katie had mentioned that, what'd she say, we had 26 playgrounds, soon to be 28. Just a reminder, these are poured in place, so these won't require that safety surfacing that does require more work from our maintenance staff. So this will be our first poured in place. Our Marshall Park was a turf. So I'm really excited about that. So that's coming along. Red Cedar.
I think that'll be nice to have the comparisons too between the different ones. Because we did the turf and had some issues and then the mulch. And
I was just gonna ask really quick for anybody listening tonight, the difference between poured in place and the turf.
Sure. So, yeah, very good. So to have an inclusive and fully ADA accessible playground, you need a surface to where you can have wheelchairs roll over or, where you don't have to pick up your feet big distances. Safety surface can do that, and it can be ADA, but the turf itself and or the poured in place make a surface that's long-term, somewhat maintenance-free, that will allow for, the turf itself looks like turf you would see on a football field or in California in people's yards. In poured in place is more of a conglomerate of probably a polymer of some sort, but a rubberish plastic surface. So the turf is more grassy, kind of fuzzy on your feet, but we notice it's also made of plastic and it can create static electricity. So that was one of the downfalls for turf. It's actually held up well when it comes to the integrity of the material so far. I mean, it's only been a year and a half. Poured in place, we have not used yet, but City of Lansing has used. And then in speaking with other folks that have put in Michigan, because, it's a little bit different here, put in the poured in place, have been very happy with it. So it'll be interesting, and it might not be one or the other. It might be site specific as we move forward. But yeah, I like the idea of just.
you can do a comparison.
Yeah.
We had done, when I was with Parks and Rec doing development, we had done, this is probably 15 years ago now, my goodness. Anyway, more elaborate studies on all the different surfaces, and the poured in place came out without a doubt the safest and the best. It's more expensive, but what we would do is those that wanted like a community playground or something, they would go raise, then we would provide the extra for the poured in place. Just felt it was that much safer and better. There's slight maintenance, but not anything like, you have to have a good installation job though.
Yeah.
So that's, the same thing with anything
And
like that.
AI in so many words, because it's a lot of words.
Yeah.
Says they're basically equal.
To what?
Poured in place and turf.
Turf.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Do you have to
know.
sand
We'll have
the
our own
turf?
test
Who,
now.
who puts the data in for AI?
Right.
It's kind of scary.
No, the turf that we have at Marshall Park does not need sand.
You don't have to sand it?
No.
Okay, because that was the old style, you play
Oh, I
tennis
see what you
courts
mean
and stuff like
by
that.
sanding.
You
Yeah.
put sand on it to hold it down, the sand eventually goes away and.
Yeah.
So you have to put it on there again, yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't know if you had to
material's a
hold
little
it down.
different. And I think you still do that on certain athletic fields, I
Yeah.
think.
Like
But this
this one.
particular material does not.
Almost.
Well, I think
no
Spartan
athletic
Stadium is
fields
like
don't
that
have
too,
turf.
right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
you kick up that black,
It's
whatever.
it's not really sand. It's also polymer of some sort, I
Yeah.
think, but.
And so they can play lacrosse and field hockey and not mow it too. But Hazlet has it, 800-900 grand. East Lansing has it, similar cost. Hardly any community around here doesn't have it, but we're in the playground biz. I did do a drive-by of Marshall a couple times, and the turf looks, well, it looks pretty. It certainly doesn't look unfriendly to kids.
Yeah.
It's a bright green
Yeah, it's nice.
and looks safe,
Yeah.
and it is safe too.
We've, other than a few shocks here and there where people have kind
And
of
we won't
played
talk
into
about that.
it's held up well. So it will be interesting to see how the poured in place works.
Right.
The plants are looking great, by the way. who's ever not been by there.
I just reached out to, that's the Hazlet Beautification Association.
Oh, is it?
And I just reached out
Right
to
at
them.
Marshall?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I was driving by, I don't know how I hadn't seen them earlier, but
Oh, you're talking about the sign.
the sign.
Yeah.
The sign and in
You're
the
talking
front.
about
We're
the
talking about
napkins. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
The
Yeah, that's
wild,
okay,
the
'cause you're right, I
wildflowers.
was wondering why that was.
Yeah, the wildflowers are great. I asked my brother about that, and they did do a bunch of different sedges and plugs, so of full plants already instead of seeding it, just to get it going. and
Looks so
start.
It does look good.
Yeah.
Than it did over the
does.
years. But yes, the flowers at the sign
The
look.
flowers too, the non-natives, the
I didn't
pretties.
think it was Katie's staff.
No, the HBA, the Hazlet Beautification Association does that, and,
They do some beautiful.
so I reached out and just reminded them how much we appreciate that.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah.
The work that they had to do around the Lake Lansing
Yeah.
Marsh when they
Yeah.
tore that up, because I saw them beforehand taking all the plants out of there, trying to get the stuff that they could save, and then putting it back in again. So it's just amazing that, it's too bad that you had that, they were beautiful, and then the city came in and had to take out something for, I don't even know what they did,
can't remember
water or
either,
sewer
yeah.
or something like that there. Just kind of destroyed the ones that were like in the right of way,
Yeah, they do a great job there.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank everybody that's a part of that.
I will do that, I certainly will. Red Cedar Waterway Project, so this is the 10,000 that we as a department and park commission set aside for internal use of funding if needed. I was gonna get to it in my director's report, but it's a good idea bringing it now. We received $50,000 from Ingham County as interim funding payment at the beginning of this year. We'll receive another 25,000 in November and then another 25,000 in the beginning of next year. But we've expended most of that 50, but with that, we have made it, when I say we, our tree contractors have made a path all the way from Williamston all the way to MSU, and now going back and doing some of the bigger project log jams, and there's been some good ones, and there's some that will probably always be kind of problem areas just based on the river flow at those areas, but yes, it should be it should be navigable, and we're going to continue to work on it, but we're kind of towards the end of that 50,000. We'll have a meeting on Friday with our tree contractor and our team and our partners and kind of see where do we want to go next. Do we need more stuff done before winter? And then how do we fund that between the 3 different municipalities? So made a lot of progress. Williamston had their River Days just this past weekend, past Sunday, and I didn't get to make it, but I had a few texts that it went really, really well. Because of the MDOT bridge on Grand River being replaced, it's a lot of times you can navigate through there, but sometimes you can't. So they ended up going upriver and back. So it was an out and back going upstream in Williamston. So I'm interested to hear how that went too. So that's good news. It's really making progress. This is it's gaining traction. We're a regional waterway, municipality. Like it's great, and we're working with, Middle Grand, the Grand River. Now the Looking Glass River wants to try and work and do some of the same things where we're using the same wayfinding signage and, same philosophy that we're not just clearing rivers, but we're also ensuring the integrity of the ecological value. So that, and the tree contractors are well-versed in that too. So it's really been interesting the last year and a half and the traction this has made. So I'm really excited about that.
Are the tree contractors also working in the riparian areas of downed falls? So that, like, when it does flood, those don't go into the river? Are they taking them out?
That's our second pass, yes.
Okay, that's the second.
That's what
okay.
we're working on right now. So the
That's one
first
of
one
the
was.
huge things, it's,
And it's complex, as
Yeah.
you know. In the river, you can be on one bend of the river and it be a completely different environment, 10 yards downstream. And so just having that knowledge. Top Notch is our tree
Oh,
contractor.
Top Notch is doing it, okay.
And they've been fantastic, yep.
Quick question, wondering, Commissioner Ferris, if we could do a river tour as a commission, if folks are open to that, like, I don't know if it's a meeting or if it's just like us going out together with the folks that are doing this,
Yeah.
but I think it might be
You're talking about at locations or in the water?
in the water.
Like a canoe trip?
Yeah, like a canoe trip together or something that we could, just see it together, all of us, or, I think that might be kind of nice.
Okay.
So something to think about.
That'd be a great idea.
It would be great. Maybe what we could do, so I can move on to the kayak, when I talk about kayak launches.
Yeah.
And maybe we could talk about timing when we get to that.
Okay.
I was wondering, too.
Because right now, you'll be scrambling out.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to get out yet. You can get in.
We want to be able to get out.
That's always my problem.
You can get out, but Ferguson still works, but a lot of people were using the MDOT park, roadside park there, but because of the bridge work, but that's all shut down. So it's, it makes it a little trickier, but when we get to the launches, then maybe we can.
And you were saying that there's not gonna be any improvement along that bank. Were you saying that? That is going to create some kind of a launch after that bridge is done? That's where people are going in anyway, and it's.
That's where people are going in and out. When I reached out to MDOT did not have any plans to improve that area. Not to say that they wouldn't be open to it, but that is not in there.
But at least, and I didn't know this
Is that
was
letters
possible.
from the community?
I mean, you
that's-
couldn't
to
do
them?
it from the west side, but if they don't hassle people going in from the east, I've not thought about in the sense of canoeing, but in the sense of taking the dog down there, I got the feeling you weren't welcome at all, but that's cool.
At Roadside Park?
M43.
Yeah, on M43 there, yeah.
The west side's just full of cranes and stuff.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
right
the
now.
east side, the roadside park, is not a mobilization area that I can tell, but you could still park there and there wouldn't be anywhere near the traffic, definitely not east-west.
Yeah.
Canoeing, kayaking, hanging out with the pet and, throwing a lure in is a good idea.
Yeah, that's something that I know the other municipalities or our partners in this regional project are looking into. So I'm not sure, Mark, what would be the next steps, but I think there's interest in reaching out to MDOT. We'll let them finish the bridge because it's been a pretty big job for them.
Well, I didn't know if it was, a timing thing, like, they're gonna be out of there and then they're not gonna come back. If there was like a letter writing campaign, when you're finishing this off, can you create a little point where people can easily access the river there near the bridge? Or, it could be just like we did at Kriego with limestone,
was gonna say,
something
yeah.
like that, something simple.
Some
that-
sort of path at
Yeah,
least.
because right now, I go there to collect that's my favorite macroinvertebrate place to get hellgrammites. There's all kinds of hellgrammites there, which is great. But getting in, sometimes it's pretty hard.
It is.
And, that bank is pretty
Some
steep in
days
that
are
area. And
working
drive
more
their
than other
cars.
days.
They do, they drive
just
their
drive
cars
their
right down
cars
there,
right
drop
down
off
there.
their stuff, and then, be able to get in there.
And I think that may be a point of discussion with MDOT because that's something that I'm sure, I know our parks, we wouldn't want people driving
Yeah.
back and forth on the lawn too, so.
Who owns that grass between?
The
It's
Department of
MDOT.
Transportation, yep.
Okay,
And that is Williamstown Township,
okay.
so
So it's not really us.
it's not
No,
where
it's not us.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
okay, just wanted to make sure.
it's right on the border. Meridian Road is,
Right,
yeah,
okay, but just on the other side of that, it's,
yeah.
okay.
But knowing that Williamstown Township is within our multi-jurisdictional grant
Right.
too.
Yep.
That brings up a question to me, on the project side, ways that we can get ahead of that. Like, I don't know if sometimes they just kind of tell us it's coming, because by the time they get anywhere near this, they've already scoped that
Yes.
project.
Figured it all
out.
out, yeah.
But is there a way for us to get on earlier? Because I
Yeah.
can't imagine that's a great idea, but I can't imagine it's feasible now. But I would think there could be a way that somehow that we should be able to get, because it probably took years. I can't even imagine how long that project's been
Oh, I'm
planning
sure, yeah.
stages, but.
I mean, I remember we talked about it a while ago. We brought that topic up a while ago. I don't remember exactly when, but we did discuss the issue of people driving. And I know when the road commission was working on the bridge with Wanch and Ferguson,
Right.
Luann was able to reach out to them and make sure that there was the ability to go under the bridge.
Yep.
And that wasn't initially, I don't think, part of their project,
Yep.
so.
And Lake Park
during the
too, where
planning
the
process.
crossing of
And
Lake
that's
Park was another
where-
one too.
Yeah.
Where can we
Yeah.
connect there?
Yeah,
Well, and their belief, their chief engineer's belief was it would cost money they didn't have because the higher up that passage was, and as far as I know, I haven't taken
walked
time to
it, yeah.
park in there.
Seen it.
It's enough trouble driving over it with all that traffic. But if you've been down there and it's 5 or 6 feet high, then Luann and us won. Because it was gonna be about 18 inches.
Oh, it's lower, it's actually lower than that. I've seen people walk under it without ducking or anything.
Oh, no, it should be.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a bridge that's
Yeah.
passable, it shouldn't look like a crime scene.
but to your point, it seems like, and I don't know if it's coming in front of the board, I don't know if it's an announcement of like, hey, we're beginning this planning, and maybe it's to the entity that is, it's Williamstown Township, it's us, and it's East Lansing, now that there's this water pathway, like, just to your point, like, getting out ahead of it, because it seems like, once they're out of there, then it's gonna be more work to bring them back
Oh,
and try to get
They
there,
won't do it.
Yeah, they wouldn't
Yeah.
do that,
And
yeah.
and the Van Atta Bridge by Harris, Lou went to meetings before she asked me if I wanted to go because I'm independent. She isn't. And that was pre-planned for years.
Yeah.
And they were darn stubborn about what they wanted to do, and they were gonna guardrail the whole entrance to Harris on Van Atta where the kiddos go across
Yep,
to
where the
walk on the
crossing
trails. And he was a real jerk about it.
Yeah.
But in the end, I said it would possibly be a 6F, and he believed me, which is probably not true. But they also then, at the Wanch site, in the write-up they did, and wherever we saw it, Conklin put in there it was a 6F. So anyway, it stuck, which is you have to replace anything park-related that's federally assisted. You have to mitigate it with equal or better,
Yeah.
and they did.
Yeah, and I don't know that we could have done this, but had we known in advance, the three groups could have said, hey, we're willing to, earmark or put some money towards like making sure that this is accessible in the plan for the launches. Like if we would have known.
I was wondering if that was just the timing because,
Yeah.
and the other thing is because we're not the property holder, right?
Right,
If that was part of the gap.
yeah,
So there's all good to collaborate.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and we do have, our DPW and engineering does all our local roads. So there is some collaboration on that level. So, so it is something we can think about. I do know bridge projects are planned for
Forever, sure.
5
But
years.
you might ask at a next staff meeting, just a casual question of, how is the township or Williamstown or other, how are they routinely informed of upcoming projects? Because there no doubt is a mandate that, especially MDOT, coordinate, but that memo written or on a screen, that may not go by you, it may go to Yanish, it may go to Dan. So it's a great question, Mary.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so Courtney, I brought this up just because, is that one of the sites that we're thinking of for putting in a kayak launch? Or that's not part of our property, that's what I was wondering.
That's not, no, that's
Because
not.
that's a common launch, and if there's a way to work with the whole team,
Yeah, I know there's interest among the team.
Okay.
There certainly is. So because I reached out during this project and MDOT did not have interest in that, but it sounded like because of this, like during this project, I don't know if they'll come back. I also
Yeah.
understand how
Williamstown
complex.
Township is surprisingly, for a township that size, they're quite pro-parks. They have a beautiful 200-acre park that goes back to the river that's on your way to,
Yeah.
was it Jerry's Pet Store?
Oh, yeah, Joey's, yeah, right across from there, it's a beautiful place.
Major League Trust
Yeah.
Fund project for a tiny
Tiny little township.
community.
Yeah, they're fun. Okay, Marshall Park amenities, Katie had, found some picnic tables that we think will work well there. They're maintenance-free. Maintenance-free generally are very heavy, or the same ones we have at Marketplace, but they're also theft safe too, because they are so very heavy. But at Marshall, we don't expect to move them too much, but we'll have, 2 new picnic tables, and there's 2 there existing. Still waiting to hear back on sunshades for Marshall Park. I will say I haven't had any further input from the residents on that. So once we get the bids, we can see if it is something we want to invest in, depending on how much they cost.
Are those recycled pop bottles or something like that? The plastic, the picnic tables there, or?
I'm not sure if they're recycled or not, but I can double check.
Yeah, there was a Michigan company
Yeah.
a long time ago that was called Duratech. And we bought a bunch of tables that were heavier than hell. I mean, but they were made out of pop bottles.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it might, but I'll double check. Katie's very environmentally friendly, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Cricket Engineering and Prep, apparently our wetland consultants are very, very, very busy this year, exceptionally more than others, so I'm not the only one waiting on my report, so, or our report. So I still haven't received the wetland report there, but I reached out again today, so we'll see. It's also construction season and people trying to get everything in the last minute too.
And, sorry, wetland report for what location, just making sure.
I'm sorry, North Meridian Road
Okay,
Park.
thank you.
Yep,
Yep.
that, the south side of the park that
Yeah.
is mostly
That
trails.
we've talked
yeah.
about before,
Mhm.
okay,
Yep.
perfect, thank you.
Because when I pull it up on the wetland inventory map, I think there's more hydric soils there than
I'm
are,
in a Parks meeting. Can I give you a call back?
Oh, call me later, no problem.
Yep.
that, than you, would from the naked eye could see.
Okay, get it.
And then Towner Road baseball fields are done. And baseball tryouts are starting for Okemos baseball clubs and varsity or in schools too. So yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
Well, can you add that note about North Meridian Road Park too?
Yes, thank you.
Just something small. so
I love it.
Keep our keep it
Anything out about her? Okay. Just. Okay.
And one more question,
Yes, go ahead.
because I'm full of them tonight apparently. Do we place this on file?
We have to place this one on file because it didn't make it in this packet. So normally it's in here for you.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So we need to do that now?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Kat.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
it was on my mind.
So move. You should move there.
I moved to place the budget update on file, budget report.
Okay, all those in favor, yes?
Yes.
All those opposed, no? Okay, it passes. I should be consistent with my A's and yays and yeses and nos.
I have to say,
Okay.
Commissioner Ferris, every time you say nay, I think of a horse. I want
It's like
to,
Mike's.
Say it with some
Nay.
conviction.
yeah, I'd like us all to just go, nay, sometimes, as a joke, but.
I know, it throws me, that's
Yeah.
right. I know.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, senior and community center updates, not too much from our last meeting. Staff is still working to look at every single parcel that could be vacant or is vacant within the township. We've even reached out to developers to say, hey, what don't we know that you might have available? So we've been doing a lot of phone calls, a lot of contacts, a lot of site visits. So we expect to have some sort of recommendation to the board within one of their October meetings, probably the second one, which I believe is October 21st. So lots of work still happening on that. I have to, I see you over there.
Yes.
Okay, so I, just for clarification, that was part of the process when the task force was put together before. So how is that different than what was already part of the task force process that is now? Because that all that work was done as part of the task force, is my understanding, and that the options were presented, the best options, and then it went on the ballot, and then it didn't get approved.
Right.
So how, like, what you all are doing now, how is that different than what was part of the task force?
So,
Question.
yeah, very, very good question. When the millage was voted down, staff was tasked with coming back to the board with what are our next steps? And we came with 4 different, I guess, ideas. One being senior center only. That would to be built on the Central Park facility, so smaller facility on our existing parcel, but that would require a millage, still gonna require a millage. Second one was, but smaller, just senior center, not senior community center. Second one was work with the schools, because the schools had, Okemos Public Schools has housed them for a while and was part of their bond when they passed their bond. So work with the schools. Third option was to partner with existing regional facilities and that might not just be senior centers, that could be like the adult care centers and other places that are already doing similar activities, but it wouldn't be one hub. It'd be more of a coordination of coordinating with other hubs. The third, that was third. Fourth one was take a pause, not be so conscious of the $5 million in that very short time, and take a pause and let's just see what we need to do. The board requested that staff work with the schools and/or look for another, like either coordinate or look for a place that they can have. So that we did do that work, Commissioner Lick. Things change all the time. So, you know, when you look around, you'll see different buildings that are vacant. Many of those are under contract. So they're under contract, but then they fall out of contract, or drain commissioner, or, you know, certain things. So it's constantly changing. And then that's just what's on the tax roll. That's what we know's there. What we hadn't done before is reach out to developers on what else do you know might be coming down the pike, you know, on vacant lands that we don't know, you know, what they're thinking. So that's what this process right now is. In addition to working with the school, we're trying to get all the information we can, bring it back to the board and say, here's what we have. What are our
Will
next
it
steps?
require another discussion of putting something on the ballot, a millage, or is this something that, like?
So the intent is to find something that we can use the $5 million for construction costs. Anything over that $5 million would have to be a millage for construction costs. But regardless, if it's a building we own outside of what we already own, we're gonna need an operating cost. We can't run another building without operations. We don't do the maintenance on the schools. And so it would be very small, very, very small, but we would need a millage to do an operating cost for any building that we purchase. So, does that
So
answer?
you're like triple, quadruple checking
Yes.
some of that, recognizing things could have changed.
Yeah.
But that, nothing that we own would be feasible.
Yeah, can I just go on record of saying, like, I'm just concerned about doing the work to I understand the point of using the 5 million. Obviously, that was an incredible, you know, thank you to Representative Brixey for making that happen. And like, but my concern is moving forward to utilize that before we pass a millage. And I just want to go on record saying that I'm concerned about that. So,
You know,
yeah,
understood.
yeah. And it's not a judgment or it's not like, not about anyone or anything. It's just like thinking about my own checkbook, right? Like that just makes me, I would be concerned for my family if we did something like that or any, you know, and I'm just going to say that and
I appreciate it.
So because you're looking at that, can I assume that discussions with the school did not go well, or are those still underway?
I would say they're still underway. I'm not having those discussions. That's coming from Manager Dempsey and the superintendents.
Okay.
But I think everybody's open. I just don't think there's an easy.
Did we get clarification on the last time we talked about this? I was very concerned about using any money from the schools in regards to this whatsoever, since they just cut pre-K and free lunches in light of all of the budget things happening. Was there any clarification on that in the last meeting? Like, do you know if we're going to the school with the idea that we would use the 5 million and they wouldn't incur any cost?
I don't know what those discussions are. And I'm not quite honestly how many have happened as well. So I'll follow up.
Okay. I also share Commissioner Ehrlich's concern. Yeah.
Commissioner McDonald?
I think both commissioners have made a great way of putting it, so it saves me from later from saying it maybe more hard-edged. I'd like to go on record as saying I don't consider this $5 million. I think it's just, I don't take that seriously until I get a copy of the grant agreement. It's not my role. Unfortunately, it's too much of your role in terms of your time as being our director. But I just don't take it serious unless I see a project agreement between whom and whom. I'm not sure. And last thing, was it said at our last meeting, or maybe I dreamed it, that the Okemos site is going to be able to stay open another year?
Correct, May of 2028.
Yeah, 2028, it was a
Yes.
couple of years, yeah.
There's a fair chance I'll be dead by then.
Well,
Well, let's hope not.
it was June of 27 is when they were going to demo that site.
Yeah.
But the 26 is the grant, so it's
Yeah, but
September
I'm
30 of
focusing
26.
on both, but yes, if the Okemos,
Gets confusing.
Kenowa road sites can be there till 28, takes a bit of pressure off the gotta do something mode.
Yeah, and that was that kind of pause, that number 4.
Right, that we're not hurting for a senior center at this
The
point.
seniors have
Something
somewhere to
needs-
stay.
I don't
until
go there, but people that do go there are now able to still go there.
But the money from the grant goes away, right? That's the issue. That's what is causing the.
2026.
Yeah,
Urgency,
Yeah.
yeah.
right.
Correct. So it has to be expended by September 30, 2026. And it's ARPA funds, so it's federal funds. So that's why there's so many restrictions. The state of Michigan doesn't have the ability to be.
No, and they also don't, as with the DNR, who's just one cog in the wheel, there's no ability to extend the ARPA funds.
There's not.
That's it.
And
So that's
Whenever
that's the tricky part.
Gate is, that's it, folks. You don't ask for an extension. And that's why Parks Division's working so hard and probably irritates some users because so many state parks are still under reconstruction, but they gotta get it done by 26.
Right. Commissioner Ehrlich?
I was just, did you have?
No, I was
something
just,
to say?
I'm just, with what's going on in the federal government, I wonder if the funds will even be there.
Well, and
You know, that's, you
that's
know,
exactly my
who knows?
point, is
It's like,
that
okay,
just
you made that
because-
decision now, but you don't get that money because we're not gonna give it, we're gonna hold it back.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's,
If you haven't used them already,
yeah, or have
because
them
the American
allocated to
Rescue
you.
Plan Act went into place because of COVID.
Right.
So, and I think they've already extended it, if I remember correctly. So it's like, if you haven't used it by then, I could see it getting clawed back in the same way that other funding has been. So it's just, that's exactly the point I was gonna make.
You know, it's such a gracious gift and
It is.
effort. And I think,
It is.
you know, everybody appreciates this, but when, I've seen this happen in other places, often a gift, I'll just take a church, you know, but then it comes with strings. And then you end up spending many, many, many dollars over to secure that, whatever that gift was. And so that's kind of without having a plan that the 5 million fits in already, that's already been approved. It makes for a difficult project, I think. And just my own personal belief in working through some of these things, that unless you have a large benefactor that is going to come forward and pay for half to 3/4 of something like that. And that's why many of these senior centers have names on them, or church wings or whatever. Then it's really hard to get those monies. That really needs to be done in advance
As
of
does,
asking other
Portage.
people
It's been a
or
couple
for
years.
millages
Yeah, right.
to do
Portage
that.
has
So-
names on it.
Yeah, so that's great, but in the context, I think it all sounded like a good idea, and it is a great idea, and that was maybe one of the top things on the township surveys. But I think most people were thinking that would come without additional costs, and I just don't see any way from a project standpoint that will do. So I applaud that we're looking at options and going through things again. I think part of the challenge is with the schools made a commitment, and now it's tougher times, and so that makes it difficult. It wasn't on our plate to do this, we had it worked out, but I think there are plenty of other opportunities and options, and it's
Won't
difficult for
forget
staff
them.
to have to
We
spend
will
so much
figure
time on this.
something out for
Well, it's
our
good
seniors.
to pursue
Absolutely,
that, but,
absolutely.
yeah.
May I get clean out my garage? Have like a euchre night or something for the 20 people.
They're a lot of
that show
fun.
up.
Bridge is a big one.
Is it bridge?
Jazzercise,
Yeah.
yep.
I want to learn to play someday.
Are you ready for Haley's comment then?
Were
I
there
got
any
a
other,
feeling it has some similarities.
Yes.
were there any other questions for Director
No.
Zinsky on the senior center, okay, community center?
Excellent. Okay, Red Cedar River, I talked about mostly, but I'll talk about the kayak launches. So 2 kayak launches proposed, one being at Launch Park underneath the pedestrian bridge, and one being at the Harris Nature Center. So we have to go through Eagle for permits, and then the supplies of the actual launches won't be ready till next year. It's too late to do them this year, but we're still moving through the process for next year. Harris shouldn't be a problem at all, given what we know and our engineers know. We're having some discussions with the road department regarding the launch site because the best spot for the site is underneath the bridge. And so there's some easement there and right away. So we're working through that with them as far as whether or not they'll allow a structure there. Point being is it's not a structure, it's a floating dock, and I just want to put that out there for everybody. There's nothing that's adhered to the bed nor the bank of the river that has strong arms that go back to the shore. That is what the entire floating system rides on. So it floats up and down, so if water levels go up or down, it floats with it, so there's no impeding of water flow. And then also, we take it out in the winter, or you can leave it in. But just working through some of that with them, our engineers, and then we've got some other engineers working. So that one might take a little bit longer, and it's probably going to require a little bit more permitting, but that's our proposed ADA site. So that one, it might take longer, but we want to make sure it's right, so working on that one.
That's looking to be, those are, you have to get approval, but they're looking to install next year.
Correct. Harris will go in as soon as we receive it,
Okay.
in the spring.
Okay.
And then launch, it'll depend on, working with the road department.
Okay.
We won't purchase the launch dock itself until we have approval, of course, and from Eagle too. But good news is the Hazlitt Okemos Rotary Club donated both of those kiosks for those 2 launch sites. And they came in and they look so wonderful. It mimics McCormick Park in Williamston, so we're keeping the same look throughout the river. But we changed, and I'll give credit to Ben Brashko, who's working on this project. We changed all of that, the histories, and we reached out to Nokomis to incorporate the Native American history into the display, and then we reached out to Capital Area District Library, and we got some cool old plat maps of the river. So as soon as we just got them in, so as soon as those go up, we'll have a ribbon cutting, so I hope you can all be there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they're wonderful, and they're 300 pounds for 2 of these, and I had no idea they were that much. But so they'll last for a long time. our team will install them. So we'll put the one in at Harris probably this year still, so we can do a ribbon cutting for Rotary. But we'll wait on watch just to make sure we know what's happening there. So it's really exciting. And that was almost $5,000 worth of signage.
They do
that-
tremendous work. I'm always amazed at what they come forward with in so many places.
And our local Rotary actually wrote a grant to National Rotary for this.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
National gave them 2,500, local put in 2,500, so it was a match. And so it's just really fantastic how excited they get and how much they give back. I mean, not just money, it's like true great projects, you know, that they.
And consistent.
And consistently, yeah.
Can we send a letter to them as a commission?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Could we do that?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay.
Is that our standard protocol, or is that something we should be looking at for things like that more often?
I've
lost track of that.
always, I'm up for any standardization, but I've always, whenever I participated, the ribbon cutting kind of does, like, that's what we're showing, like, our appreciation. But a handwritten note goes so far. And so I can certainly do it on behalf of us.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, to standardize some of the work, like, we were talking about the Hazlet Beautification Association and all the work that they do. Like, I know that we have several organizations that just give back so much, and something I've thought about over the years, but has been coming up in my mind over and over again, is like, how do we thank more timely? Like, instead of just waiting like for the thank quit, but like doing some type of, where the commissioners can sign, and I don't know if I need to like give you a PDF of our like we do a PDF of our signatures or something, but just where we can thank in real time right away, or if it's an email or a letter, just something acknowledging when we do see like some of the great work that's being done, or if you notice something. I just think it would be really nice for us to do that a bit more frequently.
I think, we could have signatures. Something comes up and you guys see something, you want to send out a thank you. I can have those, we can draft a nice thank you letter, and then I'll make sure you all agree.
Yeah.
And then Hannah and I.
Signature for anything.
No, take my name off. And then Hannah and I could distribute that. And yeah, I think handwritten notes are always just really, so even if we did that, and I did on behalf of the Park Commission too. But I agree, something like as soon as it happens, you're not waiting for a ribbon cutting or, months down the road so I like that a lot.
Yeah, you never know when your signature is gonna come back to bite you.
Really?
Well, that's something that.
No, Mark.
I mean,
like you're speaking from personal
we could do monthlies where when we meet here, we all sign the letters, so that's.
Who knew that I could have had mine forged for years and got away with a lot of stuff? You want to see my signature?
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
I'm just teasing.
Farmers Market Gleaning Program, they had presented to us, but as we were kind of going through the year, as of last Saturday, it collected over 7,400 pounds of product. And that's over 1,000 ahead of last year. So that was really great. They did a new thing this year. I think they spoke about this when they were here, but where they did a home garden donation, so they handed out the seeds. Well, from that, they've gotten 500 pounds. So people are growing it, and it's probably mostly zucchini, right? But yeah, the 500 pounds came back from that. So I just want to give them credit, and it's a really great program.
That's so cool.
And that's a volunteer-run program, and I'm meeting with them because I think this will be going into their third year, and they're looking at something a little more sustainable. So the Parks Department will meet with them, and we'll meet with Farmers Market to see what we can come up with.
Were they the same group that presented to the township board, or was that different? It had a different name.
They did.
Yeah, that was,
they did.
I call them the Farmers Meridian Gleaning Program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had a
Yeah.
different name listed.
Yeah.
That's what I wasn't sure.
Mr. Batten.
And that's what I mean, like the
Mr. Batten.
volunteers just have, when they volunteer for something, like gleaning or whatever their passion is, it's just like so much pride, like just, they're just glowing.
Yeah, and it's
So beautiful, like to see.
so it's pride, but it's more like to watch. They get so excited to see
Right.
other people
Right.
like win. Yeah, it is wonderful. And one of my favorite parts of this job is I get to talk to people like that all day long, It's better than the, 3 complaints you come into, and then you call your volunteers and you're feeling good again. Okay, staff updates. We did hire Alex Zagorzuski as our new recreation specialist, so replace Nick Wiegen. Alex was an intern for us about 10 years ago, I want to say. We didn't have a full-time position for him, but he actually went to work in our maintenance team. So he's worked in our maintenance team. Then he went to DeWitt, worked there as a rec specialist. I might miss one here. DeWitt, Pontiac, and then was the director of Eaton County Parks, but they don't have a director anymore given their funding. But he's always wanted to be in Meridian. They live in Hazlet. He's got a 2nd grader. He coaches for us already. He just really wants to be a part of this community. And he's been fantastic. It's been 2.5 weeks, and just the vision he has, the positivity, the openness, and then the knowledge. He has the knowledge. He's done it from director level down. And so it's been really exciting. So it's a good part of our team, and we do great stuff. I talked about volunteer banquet, and that, I think, is all I have.
Is it?
Yeah.
We are actually going to incorporate liaison reports in our commissioners meeting portion of the meeting, if there's anything you have to offer. But Richard, I didn't know if under public comment you wanted to offer anything?
Nothing to offer.
Okay. Okay, all right, then we're on to commissioners' comments and liaison reports. Commissioner Lick?
Yes, so I just have one comment. There is a, in the pavilion at the park, goodness, I'm gonna totally blank on it now, with the pump truck.
Eastgate?
Eastgate. There is a part of the roof of the pavilion is, and I don't know if you all have been made aware yet or not, but I have a picture, so I'll send it
We're
to you.
demoing that pavilion.
Oh, you are? Okay.
It's not getting any better. We don't have plans to replace it at this time, but not to say we couldn't at some time.
Okay.
It's not used a lot. So yes, that was part of the plan, was to demo it. But is it in something where I need to do it sooner than later?
I'll send the picture to you.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty big, I think, or at least this, and it's a small section, but it's pronounced where the boards are coming off of it, so it just might be a hazard, like a risk safety
We'll
thing.
get Katie out there.
Okay, yeah, so I'll send that picture to you, and then I missed a meeting, and I feel terrible about that, and then coming late today. You mentioned loving your job, and I just wanted to say that when Julie Brixey told me about this opportunity many years ago and helped me get my signatures and stuff, I didn't exactly know what I was getting into, and I just want to say, it is a pure joy to be here with everybody, and it is one of the greatest gifts that I've ever had in my life to be able to serve. And to just be able to be a part of all this great work. So I don't work as a full-time staff, but I don't know. People ask me oh, what do you do on the Park Commission? And I'm like, well, first let me tell you, it is one of the greatest unexpected joys of my life. I truly love it. So, and to be with everybody here, it's just wonderful. So I just wanted to say that and just thank you and your team and Katie and just for everything that everybody does to make this place beautiful and a great place to live, so.
Well, I would say the same, it's nice to have, and I served on the Park Commission, so I loved it too, and I sought it out.
Yeah.
And then Brixey got me to go to the township board.
Yes.
See how that goes?
Yes.
But to have the support of our Park Commission in the work that we do, given that I know we're a township, but the amount of work we do and, the amount of land we have, to have your support to be able to get those things done. Not a lot of them would get done if we didn't have tough commissioners behind us with great ideas. And you all have different perspectives is really important to me. So, I mean, even Mark, Mike, you guys very different. Amanda, totally new perspective from Emily. So helpful because it's easy for me to get stuck in the details,
Yeah.
So I'll reciprocate that. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Stevens, comments or?
I do not have anything from LPAB or any comments.
Okay. Commissioner McDonald, comments or
And-
reports?
I'm hopeful we'll get done by 6:30.
We're
But,
working on it.
and I don't need to know or want to know any details, folks. We're talking about pickleballers at Hillbrook. And I'd like to formally suggest, or you want to, could you consider having one of our signs made that says, this park is for open play, period? Because it's handwritten by Beth or Marla. I think it needs to be said officially, and maybe it'll cost a couple $100, I don't know, but
I'm not
I
worried.
think at Towner and Hillbrook, that would scotch some concerns. In fact, when I rarely play in the evening, but I had a half hour last night, and when I left, there were still 10 or 20 people there, and people rotate in and out. You just stick your racket in. But anyway, Leroy Harvey and I were walking out together, and a car pulled up with a 30-ish man and a 30-ish woman who said, gosh, when can we join in here at Hillbrook? And Leroy and I both said, just come on out right now and put your rackets in and away you go. And that's the way it should be. And as you said, that is one of the good things about being connected with parks, is that we know that everybody matters or nobody matters, and I'm glad to be a part of that.
I think that's a great idea, Mike, and I think there's more to it. I think that we need to revamp it a little bit.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, just,
Yeah, you're in
and
charge.
a lot of it is getting that information out. What does open play mean? I was like, what does that mean? And it wasn't what I thought. Open play to me means I should be able to go out with my husband and play whenever I want. That's not what open play means in pickleball. Open play means it's the
Well, it also means,
rotation. It's open, anybody can come.
it's also the
You
use
have
of
to
the word
rotate it.
programming.
Yeah.
It's programmed. It's either programmed that it's all open play, or it's programmed that
Yeah, so I think,
Ben Pineda in his class that he taught this summer, certainly all of us, you too, were happy to say that Mr. Pineda could put up a sign that from 2 to 4 for 2 weeks, high school kids were going to learn pickleball from Mr. Pineda.
yeah. I think, and I've learned this just this past year specifically, Mark, you're one of 10 this year that has that same question for me.
question.
So it's clearly, there needs to be better communication or explanation, and I didn't know what open play meant. I thought, to me, open play means free play, right?
Yeah.
And it's really still organized, but you can play. But they're starting to do doubles now because they're recognizing that it can be intimidating. You're going out there by yourself. It's a brand new sport. It's, you know, and you want to be with a friend or a buddy or something, and just to put your paddle in and then rotate in with people that have been playing, that is very intimidating. So they've started doubles where you can stay with friends, or fours too. At Towner, I don't know so much about Hill.
Well, at Hillbrook, it's always doubles unless there's 3 people or 1 person. But again, this is Beth and Marla do a super job, and it's done by Ann and others in the afternoon. And when someone wishes to play with their partner, often a wife or husband or significant other, it's cool, fine.
Yeah.
You two play over here, and then the next 2 folks that rotate in are going to be playing against them. Normally, if it's busy, it's 4 on and 4 off. And when there's 2 on and 2 off, the winning pairs always split up. So it's,
Maybe we could do similar to your guys' idea about the Larry social media time-lapse video. Maybe we could do something on pickleball too, on like.
I think that's a
great
great
See
idea.
how it works, yeah.
Yeah.
And just
We had no
like
idea.
that, like what does that mean? You're still.
I have no idea how they
I'm the
run.
director and you still have
I have
words.
no idea how they run Granger, I have no idea how they run Patriots, but
Yeah,
we all should have a handle on how Hillbrook and Towner are run.
I like it.
Good point.
Just like.
That's it. Thanks, Mary, for a great meeting.
Commissioner Rambo?
I don't have anything from the historical village. I don't think I really have too much. Yeah.
Right.
Oops, wrong meeting. Hold on. I was just going to report quickly on the township board because they have been busy and they are continuing work on the senior community center, which Courtney outlined without any particular specifics yet. They're in the process of holding listening sessions. They're going to start that again. Not for any specific reason, is my understanding, or is it?
Correct. So prior to the senior community center, the board did 4 listening sessions a year, and it was just about whatever topics were there,
Right.
right? Like kind of the hot
So it's going
topics.
back to that.
I believe so. That's how I understand.
That's the way I took it, so. Sadly, Township Treasurer DeShane announced his resignation as of the 16th for health reasons.
I just heard that today.
So the board talked about they'll have a 45-day window to appoint a new board member, and then after that, that board member would need to run for office at a special election because the exit of Treasurer DeShane is short of the half. I don't know what you call it, half, because you have a term.
Oh,
And it's
right.
short of the half, so they have to run in that, they'll have to run in, what, 26, is that it?
26,
And then
yeah.
again in 28. So they'll be taking, anybody
That's
interested,
interesting.
they'll be taking names and I think sorting through that. And I forget who's in charge, is it Trustee Wilson is gonna have that up with a couple others?
It will be a work group or a team of 3 generally, and I'm not sure who, but yeah, I missed I didn't
Right,
watch.
okay. So anyway, I think that is, it looks like there's one more thing. I have to write it down.
Yeah.
They had a lot going on in those last 2 meetings. I forget they don't meet monthly. They meet, more often. So it's like, damn, like, okay. And then Deputy Clerk Emily is also stepping down, and that was for a new job. And then the fun thing was an appointment of the Citizens Youth Commission that they've been talking about, I think with 9 members, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
So to have more of a youthful perspective on some of what's going on in the township. I'm not entirely clear how that interacts with the board, if it's it looks like it's a separate commission, it has a separate spot on the website.
Yeah, so Director Clark, Amber Clark, our Economic Development Director, she's leading this up. And so I would assume it was probably coming from that realm where like the DDA and some other organizations that she works with. But I don't know the details, but it is, the intent is to get youth into community, into public service, right? And how things run and how meetings work and, who do you reach out to? And I think that's the intent there, is the youth.
More so than there being a representative from that commission on the township board.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The only youth representative position that I know is on the Environmental Commission. So they have two actual,
School system.
yeah.
Oh,
They were so good.
that's really cool.
One's vacant, but Haslett is represented.
There's been some great, Sue Shear was on our task force.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the Environmental Commission.
Oh,
And
yeah, I didn't get that.
there's been some really,
Yeah.
it's exciting to watch kids that young.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran for, 8th grade student council president, but I never even thought to go to my own community and do
He
something
was
like
so
that.
polished then as a young person. I didn't anticipate he was quite that young.
Yeah.
Such your majesty.
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
they were utilized very well with the skate park down in Lansing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all youth driven,
Yeah,
which
that's
is really
smart.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
And they looked at it through the budget. So they followed the money, and that's how they got their
That's-
skate park paid for.
That's really great.
and stuff.
Yeah, that is good.
Be careful what you ask for.
So I just want to thank everyone for being here and being attentive and all the contributions. I agree. I think our commission is made up of a real nice diversity of people. So we have all sorts of different perspectives and experiences that we contribute. So with that, our next meeting will be October 14th at 4:30 at the Meridian Township Service Center.
Did Emily want?
And we will adjourn the meeting at 6:30, Mike.
On the dot.
Did you have something from your? Did you already present?
Yeah, she asked.
Oh, she did. Okay,
Just
yeah, I was
jumped right
wondering.
through her.
I didn't hear it. You didn't. I was like, oh.
And it's adjourned. Is this supposed to have been on
6:30 on the
TV?
dot.
That's great.
A friend of mine looked and it wasn't.
YouTube? I don't know, maybe it was a lot, you had a little bit.
She went to the website.
Oh, I see. I
Will
don't know
it
if
get
it goes
rerun?
right on the website right away.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, exactly. I can't hear you either.
Let me put my glasses
Yeah,
on, I can't hear you.
It's really
Reading
silly, it
lips.
happens.
Just said,
If
She's pretty adept.
a novice night,
Yeah.
or just a night if you're a novice.